Hi, my name is Anna. I'm sorry about the lighting. I've tried to fix it. I look like a ghost and I can't help it. For some reason, the only time the light is like almost kind of normal is when I first push record. The purpose of my blog is, well, I made it as an outlet for myself. I wanted to talk about everything that I was going through. I wanted to talk about my journey through recovery and just all the ups and downs that I've been experiencing. My diagnosis: I have an eating disorder. I had an eating disorder, but I've recovered. A panic disorder, depression, OCD, and generalized anxiety disorder. People ask me all the time, like, what fears do I have, what phobias do I have, and I usually just answer, like, everything. I could find a reason to be afraid of a fucking pretzel, and I'm getting through it. I get asked a lot, how would you know if you had a disorder? And in all honesty, I feel like you would just know if that's what I usually respond to you guys, or for those that ask me that question, you would just know if something's not right in your mind, if there's certain things that you feel like aren't your just thought processes or emotions, or just anything that you feel like isn't really normal, or if you've asked a million people if they can relate and they're like no, then maybe that's how. For me, it wasn't really hard for me to recognize that there was a problem. All of a sudden I went from being extremely calm, extremely I didn't give a fuck about anything, like nothing. I was so laid back, and then all of a sudden I was panicking, and I was panicking like crazy. I was anxious, and I was not eating. I mean, I had already had an eating disorder, but I was eating even like less than I wanted to, or than I had, and it was pretty apparent that there was something wrong with me. I get asked how you handle a panic attack. So I wrote them down so I wouldn't have to keep clicking back. I get asked all the time how you handle a panic attack. You don't run. That's the most effective thing. That's the first thing I would tell anybody that's having panic attacks. Do not run. It's not going to help you. The more you run is the more you avoid it. The more you avoid it, the worse it's going to get. It's like a child. If a child is afraid of the dark, the more you let them keep their light on, or you leave the light on, the harder it's going to be to turn that light off. If somebody's afraid of, it's like anything, the more you're afraid of something and the longer it goes that you avoid it, the harder it's going to be to face it. Well, my face is like almost disappearing. I get asked a lot what you should do if you start to, out of nowhere, you start to experience symptoms, and like who you should contact. What you should do is contact a clinical psychologist. You can try to get through it. I understand that not everybody has the money. My family struggles more than I can even explain to pay my therapist twice a week, and she gives me a huge discount. She usually charges $150 and I pay $90 a session, so it's almost $200 a week. My family doesn't really have that, and a lot of people don't have that in this economy. My parents are both self-employed. It's really hard. My boyfriend helps sometimes. It's really hard. But you could just call in. A lot of them, you can just try to talk to them. Just leave them a message and be like, can I talk to you? Can I explain some of this? I don't really have the money. This is my situation. This is what I'm feeling. And a lot of them are there. That's what they want to do. They wanted to help, so they help you. And you'll find that a lot of them will talk to you and, try to help you the best they can without maybe you coming into their office and paying them money. I get asked a lot why I'm not on medication. I was on medication a long time, well, for like a year. I was on 150 milligrams of Effexor, which is an antidepressant. My main issue is not depression, therefore I probably should have been on antidepressants, not anti-anxiety, not antidepressants. And yeah, it wasn't good. It was hell to get off of them, and my anxiety, like, to say that I regressed is an understatement. It was so difficult to get off of them, and my anxiety shot through the roof. I get asked a lot, like, what was my lowest point? My lowest point was the last couple of months before I started to get help back in May, I believe. It was like probably in the middle of May. From December to May, I didn't want to leave the house. I've always been agoraphobic, but I really, like, there were certain places that I felt comfortable going. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to be around people, but I didn't want to be alone. I was having horrible thoughts. I was suicidal. I would panic all the time, just anything. I was afraid I was going to lose control, but I was afraid that I was afraid of going crazy. I actually asked my mom the day before I got an appointment with the clinical psychologist. I was curled up in fetal position on my bed, and I called my mom, and I was shaking and I was crying for like 6 hours. And I finally called my mom, and I was like, I need to be checked into a psych ward. I'm going crazy. I think I'm going to lose control. I'm afraid of killing myself. I was having these thoughts of like losing control and going crazy, and that led to like, what if I lost control and I hurt myself, or I hurt somebody else. And I was just I can't describe it. I'm actually disappearing now. But yeah, that was my lowest point. And I get asked a lot, like, if I ever thought about suicide. Yeah, I thought about suicide all the time. I definitely entertained the thought. I never attempted it. I did self-harm, but it was never, I never did it to, I don't really know why I did it. It wasn't really a relief thing. I think it was just more of like, something could hurt, like, could something else hurt? I felt very numb. And yeah, and I haven't done that in a while. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I haven't done that in a while, but yeah, some of my lowest points. And I get asked a lot what things calm me down. The things that calm me down are, I'm on my phone, or I'll use my phone when I'm out, and especially if I'm by myself. Not really if I'm with other people, but if I'm alone, I'll grab my phone and just kind of flip through it to kind of try to keep myself busy. But that's not really a good method. You should definitely try to expose yourself the more, and that's what I'm trying to do. I try to leave my phone in my purse now instead of like holding on to it, trying to keep myself busy. And other things I do to keep myself, to calm down, is to just stay focused on the fact that I know I'm not going to freak out. I know I'm not going to lose control. And that's really, really, really what you have to focus on. You have to focus on understanding that anxiety disorders and OCD, they're hard. Yes, they're hard. They're so fucking difficult. They're the devil is what it is. What they are. They're miserable. They're absolutely miserable. You can't stop. You never get a break. You're always mentally exhausted. It's just a non-stop battle in your mind. But you have to understand that you're not going to go crazy. You're not going to lose your mind. I know it feels like that. Trust me, that was my biggest fear. Nobody believed that they were going to go crazy more than I did. I panicked. I freaked out. I didn't want to be alone. I believed it. But you're not going to go crazy. Yeah, you're not. I swear to God, the only way to get through an anxiety, like a panic disorder where you're avoiding everything, agoraphobia, is exposure. You have to go and face those feelings, and no matter how high your anxiety gets, you have to stay. At least stay until it it comes down by half. If on a scale of 1 to 10, if you walk in there and you're like, okay, my anxiety is a 10, don't leave it at least until your anxiety is a 5. And over time, try to stay a little bit longer. You have to expose yourself to that. That's the only way to get through them, to train your mind. If you keep running and you keep avoiding, you're training your mind to believe that those are threatening situations. There is something wrong with that situation, and then you can't sit there and be like, well, I'm so depressed because I want to go to that situation, but I'm scared. Because that's just such a conflict in your mind. Like, and I'm not saying that you can't do that because, and that's something wrong with that thought process. That's a normal thought process, or a very common thought process of anxiety disorders and OCD. But you have to face them, and it can be done. If I could do it, nobody was further down in that hole than I was. And I knew that the only way I was going to get through it was exposure therapy, but I didn't want to do it. And then I finally got a therapist, and she said, all right, if you tell me you're not going to do this, if you tell me you're not going to take the steps forward, then I'm just going to look at you like I can't help you. What are you doing here? Why are you paying me money to help you? But because the only person that's really actually going to help you through this is yourself. It's the only suggestion. You can take pills, you can do whatever, smoke weed, do whatever. I've tried it all. Once you don't want to depend on that anymore, it's still going to be there waiting for you. So the easiest way is just to get it over with and face it. Yeah, I'll do another video. I have some more requests from you guys if you have more that you want to say. Sorry about the lighting, and I'm sorry I didn't shower. I didn't do anything. Yeah, and I'm sorry if I was awkward, because I get pretty awkward. I've never done this before. But yeah, if you want to contact me, feel free. I'm really friendly. I don't judge. I'm really open with everything that I've thought, everything that I've done. And yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to help people. I'm a psych major, and I want to be a clinical psychologist. I want to specialize in anxiety and OCD and eating disorders and depression, and help people go through what I went through. So don't be shy. Thanks.